What's up, Webb crew?
Welcome back to our channel, guys. Belle, you are going to fall. Sorry. She is trying to climb up my leg.
To get on the couch with us.
And she can't do it on my leg. Anyway.
So we went to Mexico recently and it was super fun. It was probably the last trip that we're going to do right before Itzel has this beautiful baby.
You can't see my belly because of your...
Oh, sorry. Let's get down. Hey!
So, yeah, so it was our last trip before baby comes. We went to visit a lot of my family in Mexico. It was really fun. We went to a few different places, but the first place we went to was Torreon, Coahuila, which is in northern Mexico. And that is where my mom is from, and actually my dad's from there as well. It's just a very it's a bordering state, exactly. And so we went to those places and got to see a lot of my family, which I hadn't seen in a very long time, and it was really, really fun.
And it was super crazy because we were obviously not the richest people in the world, so we were trying to find the best deal. So left Friday after work, drove to St. George, Utah, stayed there a night, woke up super early. We actually didn't know about the time difference, so we woke up like at 4 when we didn't have to be up till like 5:30 or 6.
And our flight didn't leave till 11:30, which we ended up, anyway. But the funny thing is, so we got flights from Vegas to Guadalajara, because initially we wanted to make this trip out to see my family and then visit where Brenton served a service mission for our church, and he served in Guadalajara, and so we kind of wanted to split up this kind of 2-week trip and see my family and then see people from his mission. But because I got pregnant, I had to be very, very careful as to where I traveled in Mexico.
Because of the Zika virus? Because
of the Zika virus, there wasn't any outbreaks obviously there hasn't been any outbreaks in a long time, but I just kind of went off the history of where there had been outbreaks, and the areas where he had served had the highest amount of outbreaks from the other places we were going to. So we had to change the trip around a little bit. So this meant we went from Las Vegas, we went from where we live, Utah, to St. George for the night. We stayed there in a hotel, and then we went from St. George to Vegas, which is only like an hour drive, which isn't bad. Hour and a half. And then we get to Las Vegas super early again because we forgot the time change.
And we wanted to be there international flight, so yeah, got there 3.5 hours early. Or
more, probably. I can't even.
We were super prepared.
Yeah, we were very prepared. Only to find out, one, we had to pay for a ton of luggage stuff.
Yeah, Itzel's mom brought some stuff to take to her cousins and her family members with clothes and candy from the States. So we ended up paying like $160 for
luggage, just for extra luggage. And then come to find out, our flight is delayed like an hour and a half.
So we were there like 5.5 hours early.
And then we started stressing out because we had a connecting flight. Well, it wasn't even a connecting flight because we bought these flights separately after we started planning the trip. And so from Guadalajara, we had to go to where my family's from, Torreon, but there was no direct flights. So what we did was we went from Guadalajara to Mexico City and then Mexico City to Torreon. So it was like an entire day of traveling. And we weren't going to get to Mexico City or to Guadalajara until about 5:30. And I think our flight left at 6:15.
We were stressing.
And because it wasn't a connecting flight, we had to go outside of the airport and grab our bags and then check them in again. So at this point, we're like, there's no way we are going to make our flight. So we're like, I'm calling the airline, trying to figure out what we can do. I'm stressing out.
And keep in mind, she's 5 months pregnant.
I'm 5 months pregnant. I can't go very long without eating. I'm going insane. And so I'm calling the airlines. I'm looking for different ways to get to Torreon in case we miss our flight. We just decided we were gonna go eat. We were just gonna take it easy and we would see what happened, praying that our flight to Mexico City would get delayed.
So just imagine, American Fork, Utah, down to St. George, Utah, down to Vegas, hop on a flight from Vegas to the middle of Mexico, which is Guadalajara, then south of Guadalajara to Mexico City, and then a 3-hour flight back north to Torreon.
No, it wasn't 3 hours. But anyway, yeah, I mean, we didn't get to Torreon until about midnight.
It was about 15 or 16 hours of traveling in one day. But when we did get there, we had a blast.
It was so fun. And yeah, I think it was just rough because we were stressed about missing our flight. Once we made it to Guadalajara, our flight had actually got delayed. And for some reason in Mexico, similar to maybe Spain, like when we were traveling in Europe, they're not always on time. So
makes it nice.
So it was nice because we actually had time to spare, and so we made it. And we got to Mexico City, and then from Mexico City, again, it took a while. We were on time, but it took a while to even just get on our flight. So we got to Torreon like an hour and a half later than we were planning on. I was exhausted. I think adrenaline kept me going after that, but it was a very, very exhausting trip. Our first flight was awful.
Lots of turbulence.
There was lots of turbulence. And I don't know if it was just pregnancy hormones, but my anxiety was just off the charts. I just was not having it. And there was a lady, should I just say, it was really fun. There was this lady who decides she needs to go, oh, give this. All of the passengers on her flight to Las Vegas to Guadalajara are like elderly people. So here we are in a rush trying to like get through people, and there's people on wheelchairs,
14
who
wheelchairs,
can't literally walk very fast, those that can walk, and like people that are just like that don't really know the language either, and so they really require assistance. And like right before we landed, which again, this was a flight that was very like it was very shaky. There's a lot of turbulence. This lady in front of us decides to get up and go to the bathroom after they've already said like sit down and put your seatbelts on, like we're arriving here soon, and you can start to feel the pressure going down. And so she gets up and goes to the bathroom, and then we hit a whole bunch of turbulence, and we're sitting all the way to the back, so we hear everything, and the lady's sitting in the bathroom, can't get up, and the stewardess have to tell her just stay there and sit down
on the toilet and lock the bathroom door
and stay there till we land. Well, the lady starts freaking out, so then she's like, no, like I want to go back to my seat,
which is the second to last one right in front of us,
which isn't that bad, but she was older, could barely walk, and again there's a lot of turbulence, and we're already like landing. And so I'm like, in my head I'm like, what is she thinking, like what? And my mom's like, don't be mean, like
I wasn't just thinking, what is she thinking? She's trying not to laugh because she's confused.
Like it was scary. No, it was scary in the moment because there's a lot of turbulence, and I'm like, I'd listen to what they tell me. Like, don't get up right before we're about to land. Anyway, on our second flight, there was a little bit of turbulence as well, and they split us up, so we were all sitting. We all had our own row, which was nice. But I had to get up and go to the bathroom, and this was like towards the end, but it wasn't like before they said put on your seatbelt.
Karma.
So I go to the bathroom, and I'm like, using the bathroom, and as soon as I'm like literally about to squat, we hit like a ton of turbulence. What?
I didn't know you were about to squat. Well, I thought you were just like,
but like
pants pulled down, ready to squat.
Ready to like just like pee. It starts to get really shaky, and so like I'm holding on to that thing for my life with my pants down, trying to make sure my pee, TMI, stays in the toilet bowl as we are shaking. And at this point, my anxiety wasn't as bad, so I was like, oh my gosh, this is karma for like talking smack on this lady. And like I like try to like wipe and like wash my hands as like we're shaking and holding on, and I like put the toilet seat down, and I sit on the toilet like on top of it, and I open the door, and I talk to the stewardess, and I said, do you just want me to stay here? And she's like, yeah, just stay there, we'll let you know when it's safe to come out. And so I waited maybe like 2 minutes, and then they let me come out, and I was like, what are the freaking odds that this would happen to me?
Karma, baby.
But anyway, it was definitely a very, very long day, but it was totally worth it. We saw family that we had not seen in so many years.
My first time seeing any of Itel's family from Mexico.
Yeah, besides like my grandparents and stuff, but like uncles and aunts and cousins, like I hadn't seen them in like almost 11 years.
So once we did get there, we did tons of fun stuff. We went to
tacos really late at night.
The next day we went to
we
breakfast.
had this huge family reunion.
Big family reunion. We also went to this place called Parras that has a little tiny church at the top of this huge hill that we climbed with Itzel's family.
Yeah.
And what else did we do in Coahuila?
Third day. We went to just different museums and things like that.
Museums and the centro.
It was really, really hot, so it was really hard to
in between
do
100
things.
and 113 degrees every single day.
Yeah, and so me being pregnant, I was obviously afraid of like getting swollen, and so I did start to get a little bit swollen because of the heat. But for the most part, we just kind of tried to do more relaxing things during the day, and then once
with the air conditioning.
Yeah.
This is my friend, Juanita.
Yo te encargo.
We are in Mexico. Look at that beautiful young lady. We got the lady taking the orders. We got the family members. Itzel's sister. Itzel's other sister, which is also my mother-in-law. We just ordered gorditas, and you're gonna see them very soon.
Menudo.
What?
Menudo.
What is it?
No sé.
Agárrale. ¿Me diste menudo? ¿Qué pidió menudo? ¿Tú lo pediste? Ah, yo pensaba que tú habías pedido. No pedí gorditas. ¿Pero no quieres probar?
Suegra, what's in this?
¿Menudo?
¿Pero qué es?
Bueno, Dani,
Se le hace la pancita.
¿quién puede atenderme?
Pancita, stomach.
Se le hace
The cow stomach.
No lo atienden.
French bread.
Nomás aquí en la comarca.
Y las uñas. No. ¿Quién te las hizo? Ah, Itzel también quiere estrenar las suyas. A ver. These are gorditas.
Gracias.
And it has chorizo.
Ya después de todo.
Some of them have beans. Some of them have cheese. But they're really good.
Mi mamá.
Orange
Chile, ¿quieres?
All right, so Itzel and I are in Mexico, in Torreon, Coahuila. Look it up if you don't know where it's at, but we're having this family reunion for all of her mom's siblings, all of her mom's aunts and uncles, grandparents, and they rented out this awesome, it's called a quinta. It's like an event center, and it's pretty sweet. There's about to be 150 people here, but I thought I'd show it to you before all of that started, so check it out. So to our left, we have the playground for the children, swing set, small little houses. Right here we have some garden stuff, a pool. We have a gazebo back there with tables under it. Setting up some more tables for some food. I'm standing under the dance floor. Has a large canopy over it. And here's the family getting set up, or talking about getting set up. So day 2 in Mexico, we actually came to visit Itzel's mom's house. This place is awesome. Number 202. Here's my grandma, Itzel's mom's mother. Ella se llama Lupita. This is Rebecca, but we call her Becky. This is Itzel's cousin. This is Itzel's grandpa. He was in our last video with the pregnancy announcement. Vamos a pasar aquí a ver a Itzel. So this is the entranceway. It's the living room, the kitchen. And we're going into the bedroom. There's Itzel getting some clothes for her cousin Becky and her mom that's rocking the Indiana Jones hat.
Es como la arroz. It's extra small.
So Itzel's trying to help her cousin out by getting some clothes because we're going to go see her other grandparents that live in Los Angeles but are down here visiting because they are also from the neighboring state of Durango, and this is Coahuila. So those are the two states right next to each other, and they're just grabbing some clothes. Itzel's practicing that Spanish.
Está muy chiquita esta.
Muy grande.
Pero muy grande. Pero está toda arrugada.
Yo diría la roja no sería tan arrugada. O esta. ¿Crees que te quede esta vez?
No sé.
A ver, mira esta, porque esta de todos no se amarra de aquí.
Se me hace grande. Bueno, ponte de grande.
¿Quieres algo?
All right, now we're here at a little restaurant, little outside cafe. Itzel, her aunt, who looks like her sister, her cousin Becky, her grandma, her mom. This is called a lonche, torta. Has meat, tomatoes, jalapenos, avocado, mustard, mayonnaise. It's really good. And we're right here on the street.
Y yo le digo a mi mamá, ay, ¿por qué? Le digo a mi mamá, ay.
So where are we at?
¿Es la plaza? ¿Ah? Es la plaza de Lerdo.
¿De dónde?
Lerdo.
We are in Lerdo, Durango, guys. We're about to hit the plaza. We're gonna see Itzel practice her Spanish right over here.
You have the money or do I?
Yo lo tengo.
¿Qué quieres y de qué tamaño?
Pero...
Aquí está atrás.
¿Otros dinos?
Pues enseñar los tamaños de los vasitos, por mí.
¿Qué vas a pedir?
Ok.
Son de 2, 4 y 6 bols.
Se pueden poner varios sabores.
¿Puedo probar algunos sabores?
Is that chocolate? No, the little sign. That doesn't look like chocolate.
¿Me da a probar el chocolate, por favor?
I think Itzel's using her Spanish on them. Hey, Green Bay Packers.
Sí, por favor.
El limón.
Me da una pequeña de limón, por favor.
¿Una chica?
Chica.
¿Quieres, mi amor? ¿Sí? ¿De qué quieres?
Hey, grab the money and pay for everyone.
Okay, Vale. ¿Tú qué? ¿Tú quieres? ¿Tú quieres?
No, mi amor.
Eso es todo, Becky.
¿Tú quieres? Esta es de...
¿Qué pasa? ¿Uno de coco con chocolate?